Hello and welcome, fellow rivals, to another episode of Game Rivals. I'm your host, Maximilian X, and today is a special episode. As you might kind of see by myself and the background, we're going to be doing some very lovely talking about video games. And I do say we because I have some special guests with me this week. Of course, we're going to show the guests that are here. We have, of course, the lovable, the huggable Denirukun with me. And as well, hi. We have the man with the sultry voice, RiceBoyyyTV. How you doing, gentlemen?
Well, that's very kind of you to say, Max. It's so good to be here, as always. Oh, my friend, it's so good to see you.
Yeah,
listen, man, I was thinking about this month, and outside of my very committed and loving relationship with my partner Becca, I was also thinking about all the people that I have like a deep love for in the digital space. And while I haven't met everybody in person yet, we're gonna say yet. Max, you rank really high up on my list. And yeah, man, I just want to give you a big hug.
Oh, same here. We keep talking about it every time, like, oh, when we meet, we're gonna have like the most epic hug ever.
It's gonna be the best. It's probably gonna be like a long, silent hug.
Yeah,
like maybe a little bit of tears as well. But
probably,
it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. You two are gonna smell each other. Watch.
Oh yes, no. You know when you hug and then you're just like a big inhale.
I smell like a father figure.
You smell like the father I never had.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. Your significant others are gonna sit there and be like, I wish he'd hug me that way.
Oh, geez.
That's what's.
But it's good to be here, man. It's good to be here. I'm gonna pass it over to this wonderful, lovely bearded fellow over here.
Which one? We both have beards.
I think I have more of a beard than you.
That's fair. There's just like there's like a deeper contrast in his beard.
What?
Oh,
his contrast settings are different.
That's true. I have more lights on me. That's why. Oh man, how are you guys? It is good to hang out with you. I feel like it's been a minute. So on a podcast or on an episode where we're talking about love-ish, where it's themed around love and partners and friends and all that stuff. I'm glad I get to do it with you guys. You know, I want to share that brotherly love.
Same here. Yeah,
I already had my really big hug with Rice during Christmas, so
I'm so lucky that you get to actually meet each other. Like,
aw,
don't worry. We're coming for you.
Oh, please.
Yeah, please love me.
Oh, but hey, my door's always open. I got enough space here, so.
I love it. It gives us an excuse to travel that way too.
Yeah, I've never been that way.
Exactly. So, like I said, we are going to be talking about co-op games that you can play as a couple. There are a lot of co-op games out there, of course. Some are competitive, some are exclusively cooperative. But at the end of the day, it's all about sharing that special thing, which is, in this case, our love for video games with people that we care about. So, with that being said, Rice, what is one of your favorite co-op games that you'd like to play with another person? Significant other? Could even be a sibling, but what is your game?
Yeah, absolutely. I've said this answer for many different questions, but my wife Rebecca and I actually love playing the Halo campaigns.
Mine too.
We go
through. You can see the visual confusion on my face, right? Please elaborate for someone like me.
Yeah. What do you need? What do you need clarification on?
I mean, like, I can understand hanging with your bro and maybe doing some like couch co-op or maybe online. and
Yep.
going after like the flood and stuff like that. But like, how does it work with a significant other?
It is pretty hilarious. It's funny. Rebecca actually like loves to shoot stuff. Like in terms,
Okay.
she doesn't game as much as I do. A lot of her gaming is on handheld devices, whether that's a mobile or like the Switch or and I think that she kind of more gravitates towards puzzle games and games that kind of make her brain think. As individuals who have brains that also chase dopamine, we love to shoot stuff, and so when we do that together, it's pretty hilarious, and it's pretty funny too because in the Halo campaigns, there's friendly fire, and so
Play with friendly fire on.
well, actually, there wasn't any way to turn that off in the original campaign, and so, yeah, there will be
played
times.
Halo 3 co-op, so
Right.
Yeah.
So, like in Halo 1, that was part of the shenanigans, man. Is veering off of the actual mission just to kill your partner for fun, get their ammo, or sometimes we would exploit this because if you killed your partner and you hid somewhere away from enemies, you would respawn with full health, and so full health and full ammo, and so those are things that we just kind of always did, and it was a really funny
strategy.
strategy, kind of like it was just a light-hearted way to kind of game together and do something together, blow off steam. And then after that, then it's something a little more chill, whether that's watching a movie or playing a much calmer game.
What would be your definition of a calmer game?
Yeah, that's a now that you actually challenge that, it's kind of a tough question. Because she is so competitive.
Really?
Even if it is a cooperative game, she'll find a way to contest what I'm doing, do it better, or just be annoyed with me and just kill me. So let's see here. Okay, so another game that we have played together, which I don't know if this counts because it's not really a cooperative game.
That can be competitive.
Co-op, it counts.
But we made it that way because we passed the controller off to each other. And Max, I think that you were actually a part of this experience when I did it on stream. But we played Alien Isolation, and that game is so atmospherically spooky and eerie that we just had to pass the controller off just to de-stress. But it was fun for the other person who was watching, because you were just watching your partner kind of be in fear. And there were some moments where you were both fearful, even if you weren't holding the controller. So that was a fun experience to have with Rebecca. It's just playing.
I don't think I was there, but knowing Rebecca and knowing what she occasionally does on your stream, which is why I call her the GOAT, is she likes to scare you, like randomly jump scare you while you're streaming, and the game doesn't even need to be a scary game.
No.
She'll just scare you. So I can imagine her just having fun playing this game co-op with you. For sure.
It's hilarious. I scare very easily, and you could literally do that to me anywhere. I could be doing anything. It could be in a loud place, but I'm so jumpy that it just makes for great content. Unlimited content. Infinite content glitch.
Infinite content glitch for sure.
I like that.
So, with that said, I kind of want to ask you guys, have you all ever played, I mean, I'm assuming everybody's played Tetris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there's a bunch of different Tetris games out there. You could probably be like, I'm going to be a Tetris player and like have a trove of games to play. One of the games, it's not co-op, because how the heck would you make a co-op? But it is competitive and you can play against each other. One of the games is Puyo Puyo versus Tetris. that had a sequel as well, and you could play either Puyo Puyo or Tetris against one another, which is
Right.
super weird. They made it work. Basically, when you get like a Puyo like block to form, and then that sends junk to the other, and when you make like a Tetris, that sends junk to the other person. So in that regard, it kind of works. They made two. I think both are technically competitive games in the sense that, like, I think Sega was trying to aim for it to be like a esport. I don't know if that happened. I didn't check in on that. I just know that it exists, and I'm kind of wondering if any of you guys have played it, or if that's something you think that you could play with, like, if you had like a significant other or whatever, of have you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, fun fact, I have played. Oh, I can't even pronounce it because
Puyo Puyo?
But okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I played the
Because-
original one.
Because wait, the original one would be Professor Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've played that.
Yeah, because when they brought that west, they thought that the name Puyo Puyo was too ridiculous, and they were like, "Hey, we have the Sonic IP. We can
Mean Bean Machine is
it."
way better.
And they called it Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is very cool because in Sonic Mania, one of the boss fights is a Puyo Puyo game. It's literally
it's the final boss.
It's literally Mean Bean Machine. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love that reference.
That's the thing. So actually, I introduced my partner to Puyo Puyo because of Mean Bean Machine.
Yeah,
because she's a puzzle player. She plays very few games, but she'll play like puzzle games and stuff. But yeah, no, it's fun to get them annoyed and mad.
Yeah, I love Puyo Puyo. Like, my first one was Puyo Pop Fever on the GameCube. That's how I got introduced to it.
So to clarify, so when you do something on your side successfully, you then kind of put a blocker of some sort or a suppressor on the other person's.
Yeah, you just drop like how you would play competitive Tetris, where if you clear a line, it sends like junk blocks.
It sends them over. Yeah, okay.
Or it pushes it up, exactly. But with Puyo Puyo, it drops like junk Puyos down that you can't combine, and you have to use a combination to destroy them.
God,
it's like
case,
it kind of goes like this if you're playing competitive. So Tetris goes up, Puyo it comes from the top down.
Yeah, Rebecca would eat that up and absolutely annihilate me, because I get very stressed when I am losing. And so it's very easy to beat me once I am that flustered. But those moments of excitement make it super fun. It's super fun. So I could see myself playing that.
I don't have you played a Puyo game, Rice?
I have not. Now I'm curious. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, because you could play that, get good in that, have Rebecca like play against you in Tetris while you play against her in Puyo Puyo. And just, like, send all those blocks up.
That could be interesting. Could be very therapeutic, or it could put our marriage in jeopardy. We don't know yet, but we'll see.
Only one way to find out.
That's right.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. So, Denny, what game do you have that you would recommend for people to play co-op?
So, I went a little old school. And I recommend the Gauntlet game.
Oh, yes.
There was a recent Gauntlet game that came out in the late 2010s. And I sunk hours of that with friends.
Is that the one that came out on, I think,
Steam?
I thought you were talking about the one that came out on Xbox Live.
It might have come out on Xbox Live. I know it did come out on PS4. They called it the Slayer Edition. But this one was just called Gauntlet, and it was great. You have your dungeon crawler, you're there with your friends. You can have, I think, up to 4 people, couch co-op or online. Sunk tons and tons and tons and tons of hours. Like Rice as well, though, one of the co-op games was going to be Halo. but very specifically the arcade rail shooter of Halo.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one, right? And that was the thing. So, my wife really got into shooting aliens because of that game.
What?
Damn.
Because she took me to like, it's called the Rec Room here, but it's just kind of like an adult arcade. So
I know
you can go
exactly what
get
you're
a
talking
beer.
about.
Yeah, you can go get a beer, get some wings, and then the basement has like all these arcade games that you can play, and one of them was the Halo game. And she just got into it. She would not leave the Halo game.
Yeah.
And then I
There were lineups.
Yeah.
I think, is it called Halo Fire Force something?
Strike Force.
Right. Yes.
Looking this up right now.
Because
Fire Team Raven.
yes, thank you. That's the one. Because the arcades here have it too.
Yeah, so she really got into that, and then so the next day we were home, and then I showed her Titanfall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good one. One or two?
Two.
Yeah,
because
two.
One does not have like a
Yeah, so
That's right.
campaign. Yeah.
the other game that we've done, or the other kind of genre of game, have been visual novel.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
Anyone in particular?
Literature Club.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Cooking Companions, Monster Prom,
Jeez.
and like we just have a really weird time with it.
That's
like,
I get that because you're like kind of following a narrative together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make your choices, you read the story, you try to do voices for the characters. It's just, it's just a fun and goofy way to like, again, let off some steam or just, be invested instead of like sitting there and watching a TV show like
Sure.
Yeah.
Too Hot to Handle or some nonsense like that. You just
Love Island.
Love Island. Yeah. Oh, okay. We're not getting started with Love Island. There's a story there that just, it's funny, but hate that intro song.
Yup.
Quick, can I do a quick segue on this story?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
30 seconds. So like whenever she would watch Love Island, I would go into like my office and stream. Like that's when I started streaming. And so for her to kill time, she'd go watch Love Island in the living room. And for some reason, no matter how quiet the TV was, all I could hear was the stupid theme song because like I guess they cranked up the volume on the theme song. So I'll be sitting here playing a game and in the background I hear like doo 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 or whatever the stupid sound is.
Oh my gosh. Flashbacks now.
Right?
That's such a triggering sound.
Oh, it's the worst. But anyways, going back to the thing, yeah, visual novels. So the three were Monster Prom, Cooking Companions, and Doki Doki.
Yeah.
We never finished Doki Doki.
No.
Did it get too scary?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Me.
figured.
For me.
It is pretty messed up.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen plenty of playthroughs of that one to make you go, you know what? I'm good.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah.
Monica. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Was that a Monica out of Long or?
No, as in, she still haunts me to this day.
Because there was a little bit of like endearment in that one.
I know. It's kind of like, yeah, that's that game stuck with me for a while. And I don't know if, I couldn't decide if I liked it or I didn't.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was a problem.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah, visual novels. I didn't even think of that like as playing visual novels as a thing for couples to do.
Yeah,
because then you can both decide on like which route to take.
Who to kill?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is like it's interesting because there are points of discussion and debate as to how you would act versus how the character would act and how you just want to see the story play out. There's a lot of different possibilities, so that would be super fun.
Yeah.
Actually,
absolutely.
Can I add one?
Sure, go ahead.
If you're familiar, it's also it's a decision-based game. It's Detroit Become Human.
Oh, that's good. It's technically, I mean, that is a way more interactive version of a visual novel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Rebecca was very intrigued with the premise of the game, and so I got it for her. She played through the whole thing. And same thing, we were kind of just discussing ways to play the game and how things would play out. And I think that her first playthrough, she got the worst ending.
Ooh.
And she was mad. She
Yeah,
was really, really mad. and like
Yeah.
it took a while for us to come back to it because it was just like it felt stressful. It felt
Yeah.
stressful to be making decisions that were so big and then really impactful. But after coming away from it for a while, we were like, "Oh my gosh, that was a really cool experience. That was really cool."
Yeah. Yeah, it is really cool because when I don't think I played. No, I didn't play it on stream. The first time I played, I've only played through it once. I got a, I think I got the good ending, or at least as
Sure.
good as it's gonna be. Nobody died on my end, thank goodness.
That
'Cause
is impressive.
That is very stressful. Like the when it's like the moments where you're like, oh my god, don't die, and you're like, ah, crap, I fumbled on the quick.
It's
Oh.
so interesting too because like you end up kind of rooting for the androids,
Yeah.
and after coming away from it, I realized that I would be that individual probably that was like picketing and protesting that like humans were losing their jobs. But it is still a very, very interesting conversation to have.
Yeah. I like the relationships that you build in that game as well.
Yes.
Like you build some very interesting relationships. It kind of makes you think about, like what does it mean to be human?
Sure.
And like what kind of rights and
Right.
just-
Where does existence start? Like very
Exactly.
philosophical.
yeah, it gets really good. Yeah. It's pretty strong. I think out of all the Quantum Dream games, I think Detroit is probably their best game. Because I
agree.
I played Beyond Two Souls. It's not as good.
No.
I also feel it's way shorter than
Agreed.
Detroit. And I played all their games. I also played Fahrenheit, which was the first game that I played from them, aka Indigo Prophecy.
Heavy Rain?
So I played Heavy Rain. I don't think I've beaten it yet.
Heavy Rain was interesting.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I did the same thing Rebecca did. I think one of my characters died, and I got pissed off, and then I turned off the game. And I haven't gone back since. I don't remember. I think I played it on my PlayStation 4. I have to go back and check and see if there's a save file there, and see if a character did die, and if I have to start over again, or if I just like go through it and just see how it ends. But that one was that's the only one that I haven't finished. So I did Fahrenheit. That one was, I mean, it was their first game, and you can really tell it was their first game, and you can really tell they were pushing some pretentious angle. So,
Right.
Yeah.
They have some pretty controversial people have some pretty controversial takes on the game and their approach. So
yeah, it's not the only one that they had controversial takes on. Like, for example,
very-
Heavy Rain was because
Yes.
it is I think they're based in France. So most of their like voice talent were French people trying to pretend to be American, and like some of the background characters that they had speaking roles had really thick accents.
Oh man, yes.
Which they I think fixed for Beyond Two Souls, because that was the game that came after. So that one had mostly an American cast, or at least a cast that sounded American enough. And Detroit is just like, honestly, this is probably their best game yet.
So good.
Yeah. So yeah, kudos to them. And Detroit, definitely a really cool one to play with a significant other, or like with a friend or something, and discuss the decisions and stuff, and then look back at like the past that might have been, and you're like, oh, what if we changed our decision like at that point? Maybe like next time we play through to see like what is this branch that we like missed and stuff like that, which is really cool. I like that. Speaking of games that I like, one of the games that I kind of wish had an online version, but I think it's probably for the best that it doesn't. Mostly because if you play this couch co-op, and the things that you have to say to make sure that you can complete this, is hilarious, and I've played it with other people, and it's just so fun to like say the things, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush anymore. It's a game called Snipper Clips. If you've never heard of this game before, it's a launch title for the Switch. I think it got an updated version, because I think when it originally came out, it was like only on the eShop, and then it got a physical release, which I think has more levels, but I'm not sure.
Snipper Clips Plus.
Yeah, exactly that one. So that one had more levels on it as well, and that was the physical copy. And I bought this at launch alongside with like Zelda at the time. And the thing is, you can't play it single player, but playing it with another person or persons, because you can play up to 4 people, is so much fun, because the way you have to instruct your partner into like following orders is so hilarious, because you're basically 2 different shapes, and it's a puzzle game where you have to complete different objectives, but the angle is the shapes that you are can be cut. So you can use one character to cut the other in different shapes. If you shave off too much, they disappear and they respawn as their normal shape. But sometimes you have to be like, like for example, there's this one level where you have a basketball that drops down and you have to put the basketball in the net. So what do you want to do? Well, the basketball hoop is high. You can't reach it from your normal height. So you need to have someone else stand on you so that they can, put the basket in the net. But you're both like shapes are basically like a U shape, and then like with a flat top. So one of you has to like cut like a divot with using the rounded end of their body into the other person's shape, so that once the basketball drops, they can catch it basically in their U-formed divot, and then you can move to the other side where the hoop is, and then put the ball in there. But you have to coordinate, right? Because if you don't coordinate, how are you gonna convey where you want to go or what you want to do? So, so basically, if you want to do something like say, like get on top of me and come.
Whoa! Happy Valentine's month.
Like, no, don't do it like that. Then you have to reset. You're gonna have such like. Here's the thing. I think if you play this with a significant other, it can be really fun.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to play this with us. And here's the thing. You have 4-player missions. So that means you have missions that you could play with 3 other people. If you're having these kind of conversations, it's going to get awkward real quick.
Real quick. Oh my God.
That's funny, man.
And, considering the fact that the Switch is a portable device, it means you can take it anywhere and play it on, say, I don't know, a train.
I see.
Which I did. I was there with this other person, with an acquaintance, and I was like, hey, I just got my Switch. I'm like, oh, what games do you have? I'm like, well, there's this one game that we can play together. It's called Snipper Clips. So I pulled out my Switch and I gave him a Joy-Con and we started playing, and I was directing him. I'm so glad there were barely any people in our session. Because the things I had to tell this person is like, yeah, okay, like, wait, I'm gonna jump on you and then I'm gonna cut a hole here. Like stand up higher, because you can stand on your tippy toes so that you can gain a little bit of height. So,
tell us, I need you to be higher.
Oh my God.
Everything you say.
Can't play in public.
Oh, it's actually a game that we should stream together.
I like it.
The problem, you can't, because it's not online.
Let's try to sing online.
As far as I know,
can
it's
find
only on Switch, which
We have to be on the same in the same room.
because here's the thing: the reason why it's on Switch.
Yes.
What? Oh, you guys could play it.
No, we're flying over.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at tickets right now.
Yep.
You have the game. We don't need a copy.
We'll get there.
We got a long weekend coming up.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing about it is that at least with the Switch 2 coming, that's a great way to start, like, doing a co-op game.
Oh, you had to mention this.
I mean, it's Nintendo published, so I don't know if it's actually on Steam or something.
No, I think it's Nintendo only.
Yeah, it's Nintendo only, which is a little bit, in that regard, it's a little bit disappointing because of the lack of online. I really wish they did put out like an online version or an online patch which allowed you to play like online, but considering the infrastructure of the Switch is kind of bad since you don't really have voice chat and you need voice chat for this to work.
Well, I mean, you could have voice chat in different avenues. Like, did they have a voice chat app? I never used it.
Oh, the Nintendo
But, like,
Switch online app? Yeah, that thing is horrible. It only supports like a handful. So, yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, Snipper Clips, the thing that I'm a little bit sad about is because it reviewed very well. Like, it reviewed very well. And a lot of people like it. But I think the one thing that most reviewers at the time were also saying is that they kind of wish that this was online. Which I do agree with, but co-op in person is honestly a lot better because you can look at each other and be like, "Why did you cut me in that shape?" No, because because the worst thing is it's not just like, oh, you have to cut them in like a U shape so that you can put a ball in a hoop, but you also have stuff like balloons that you have to pop.
What?
For example,
Just imagine being the person and I'm just thinking about all the things you'd have to say, and the phrase "you need to pop me right now" just comes to mind. And
you have to cut me into a point.
You have to make me sharp. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of innuendo in that game, so it's perfect.
Yeah, that's honestly there's so many opportunities to say innuendo stuff by accident in that game. It's like uncanny. But the game looks so gosh darn cute. There is one thing though. It kind of is. I feel like the developers kind of secretly implied to do that because the sounds that the shapes make.
Is it suggested?
Yeah.
Suggestive. Sorry, suggestive.
Yeah, it's also the faces that they'll occasionally make when you cut them. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, guys. I went too far.
No, that's fine. Listen, there have been times where I've gone far, so.
All right, okay. Rice, do you have anything else on your list of co-op games to recommend?
Yeah. I don't know if you've played this. I played this on the Switch as a couch co-op game with both my significant other, friends, siblings. It's absolute chaos. It's called Heave Ho.
Oh?
Yeah, Heave Ho.
I know that game. I haven't played it. I know that game.
Essentially are these little blobs with long arms.
Yeah.
All you have to do is try to get to the flag, the finish line, essentially. But the only way for you to get through these obstacles is by helping each other using these flaily arms. So sometimes you have to like link arms. It's very stressful because if just one of you, lets go. I think that the triggers were mapped to be like, that's what grasps the other person or whatever you're hanging on to.
Yeah.
But with Joy-Cons. And I think that you should play them with Joy-Cons because, or just smaller controllers, because that was part of the fun, is you could easily slip. And when that happens, absolute chaos ensues. And you are just yelling at each other at that point. You're just like, and it's hilarious. But it is so satisfying when all of you finally get to that finish line, because you have to all arrive there in order for you to progress to the next level.
Oh my gosh.
But some of the most fun, like biggest belly laughs I've ever had playing games with people was had with the game Heave Ho. So if you ever have a chance to pick that one up, that's a highly recommend. Such a great couch game.
I actually forgot that game exists.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and it's so derpy because the little characters they don't speak, they just make like sounds, and it's the most hilarious thing. It's so silly.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is the most hilarious thing to just stupid fun. That really just like take you out of whatever your day was. Say you have had a terrible week and you just need some sort of escape, or at least a moment of zen. Well, maybe not zen. Zen is not the word.
I think you just need to let loose and have some fun. Or
This really does kind of help you forget, and it's great because you're fully engaged with the people in the room. It's not just a game where you're all looking at a screen and everything that you're relying on in order to progress is on the screen. While it is visual, you're communicating with each other, you're yelling, and you're laughing your ass off because it's just like, this is hilarious, stupid fun. Yeah.
Nice. You know what that actually reminds me of? It reminds me of Overcooked.
Overcooked. Yes. Yeah. I will say with Overcooked, man, there are some people like they need to take point. You can't have, this is the thing, you cannot have too many leaders in the kitchen.
No.
Too many chefs in the kitchen. You really just like know your role. Maybe have one manager. Some people actually play it like this. There are 4 players.
Yeah.
And they will also bring on a 5th to manage the orders.
No, serious? Oh, that's
it's very interesting, because that way the people who are tasking, the people with the controllers, then can focus on the tasks. And it kind of functions like a real restaurant where someone is yelling off orders and hands. Yeah. Behind.
Basically, you have a sous chef.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Denny?
Sorry, I'm trying to find it right now as we talk. There's a game very similar to Cooking Companion. It is... Sorry, Overcooked. What did I say, Cooking Companions?
Yeah.
It's a game called Chef Squad.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Have you heard of Chef Squad?
Mm-hmm. I don't know that I've heard that one, no.
I think it's an online game. Like, it's a browser-based game.
Oh.
And it's almost the same idea as Overcooked, where you do need that 5th person.
Right.
It's a Twitch game, actually. It's a Twitch game
that
you can play. And then basically, like, the main person's like the head chef who's calling out all the orders and what they need, and then you have your friends or your teammates, and they're the ones that are actually preparing everything. So whoever's cooking the steak, whoever's preparing the sides. So very similar style.
Okay, that explains why I've only seen it on Twitch.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a Twitch only game, but very fun.
That's crazy. Dang, that's actually kind of cool. Anything on your end, Denny? Anything else on your end that you're like, hey, this is a pretty cool way to play co-op?
No. There's a lot of fun games. And I think, like, the thing about co-op games is there's games that are meant to be co-op, and then there's games that we make as co-op.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
and I think that's a great example, because it's just how you want to play the game, which is a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
Sonic and Tails?
Let's not talk about Tails.
Okay. I just triggered him.
He had a recent not great experience.
It's like, okay, first of all,
do you just hate Tails?
No, I like Tails. He's just annoying as in Sonic 2, because he always like triggers platforms before you get to them.
Oh, okay.
But
I can see that gripe. Yeah.
Like, it's a fun co-op thing though, especially if you have like a little brother, you just want to toss him the controller, he can dick around and not like screw up your run.
That's why you hate it.
I was never the little brother, for the record.
Okay.
But for me, I think a lot of my fun co-op experiences have been either with like dungeon games, so like
Okay.
Diablo, for example,
Oh dear.
or Baldur's Gate. Those games have always just been oodles and oodles of fun, and just being able to clear that kind of stuff. There's one game I remember, it was called Dungeon Siege 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a horrible mess, and like we could never finish it, but it was just so much fun to play just because you're just with your friends or with family or whoever, just being able to complete some sort of quest and you know, just eat stuff up. Oh my god, Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Duh. There's so many.
Double Dragon.
Yeah.
Double Dragon.
Those games are
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
Beat
miss
'em
those
ups.
games.
Yeah.
Beat 'em ups. There you
Yes.
go. That's my thing. Beat 'em ups. That's my next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim, if you haven't played the Scott Pilgrim game.
Scott Pilgrim.
Also a good one. One of my
Turtles in
favorite
Time.
ones. Turtles
in
in Time.
How can we
Shredder's
forget?
Revenge.
Yeah.
Battletoads.
Oh, Battletoads. Nice.
Yeah. I'd like my first one was Battletoads and Battlemaniacs for the Super Nintendo. That was so gosh darn cool. I love that game to the day.
My first beat 'em up was Double Dragon 3.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good one.
same.
Good one.
That was good.
Yeah.
I cried.
It was-
I was scared.
It was not easy.
No, it was not.
It was quite a difficult game.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of practice to even get to the second level for me. So
Wow.
I don't know how I got that game. I remember it being a gift. I don't know who got me that gift, but whoever did, I'm looking at you now. You're mean, dude. I was like 6 when I got that game. You're mean.
little did you know.
So good.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I used to like growing up. My cousin had like an import Super Nintendo, like an American one.
Right.
And he would get American games, versions of games. So like Super Double Dragon was the first Double Dragon that I ever played. And that one is like, I love the soundtrack of that one. It's so good. It's also so good to play co-op. But yeah, beat 'em ups. I mean, now you have the Capcom beat 'em up collection, so that's like a great place to start if you want to play
Stone?
like co-op games. Power Stone is
No, that's an arena fighter style.
that's an
game,
arena
right?
fighter. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you could do that co-op and beat up the other opponents, and then
Yeah.
once the other ones are out of the way, it's like, okay, fight.
Mentioned
Who's the best
many
one?
like one game that my family and also friends really loved was Super Mario 3D.
All Stars?
No.
Wait, Super Mario
3D.
This was
3D World?
3D World. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can play that co-op. You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that
that's
one
It's a Wii U game?
That's
the Wii U game. That's
Yeah,
correct.
it got a Switch deluxe version.
I
Right,
thought
with Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
right. So I don't know why I thought you meant Super Mario 3D All Stars for a second.
Oh no. You are a retro king, my friend. And I appreciate that. But no, the Wii U game.
Yeah,
that
3D
game
World. Yeah.
was really fun. You struck my memory because I was thinking of Double Dragon, how difficult that was.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something to say about games that are much more obtainable, accessible, and like just an easier kind of fun experience rather than something that is, that you're trying to beat, and it takes a quite amount of dexterity or skill.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's a good one as well. I mean, we're missing so many. There's so much out there.
Yeah.
Like It Takes Two was on the list that you.
Yes.
in
It
that
Takes
article.
Two. Oh yeah.
That's brilliant. Like that's a brilliant game. I'm really looking forward to
Split Fiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
because it was a way for the two players to do different tasks and really cooperate in that way rather than kind of just being in the same space.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, those games are good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
Yeah.
very very good.
Yeah. For me, like here's the thing, right? So you have a lot of, as we said, there are a lot of games that are made specifically to be played co-op, and then there are those that are not specifically made to be played co-ops. And me and Denny came on to a similar thing, which is JRPGs. Specifically, the first game that I ever played co-op was Secret of Mana, which had, you know, like 3-player multiplayer if you had a multi-tap, which was like a first for me, by the way, having to require a multi-tap. I've only played that game a handful of times with 3 players. Mostly because, you know, it was harder to get a third player than getting the multi-tap. So for some reason. But then you have games like not Secret Mana, I just said Secret Mana. Final Fantasy VI, which has a way for you to play 2 players. If you have a second controller plugged in, you can say like, hey, the second player controls like the first and second like character, or like the third character, or fourth character, or like 3 of the characters, and you just control one of the characters, but only in combat. So player 1 still controls the characters when they're in the overworld and in towns and stuff like that. But you coordinate that, of course, like when you go to like a town and you're like, hey, I need some armor, or hey, we need to stock up on some like potions and stuff like that. You can do that, which is really cool. And then Denny reminded me, like, hey, Final Fantasy 9 and, like, 8 had that as well. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I was like,
a lot of the
crap, that's right.
golden era Final Fantasy games had that.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, because I also told him that another game, of the Tales series specifically, Tales of Destiny on the PlayStation 1, I don't speak for the PlayStation 2 remake that came out in Japan only on PlayStation 2. I don't know if they did it there as well. But for the PlayStation 1 version, technically, it's a single-player game, but early on in the game, there's this item that you get, which is a ring called Channeling. And you can already imagine with a name like Channeling, what that does. So basically, you equip it to a character that you want a second player to play. So if you equip it to another character, that character now, during combat, can be controlled by a second player. There is a little bit of a downside, because the description does not tell you that in game. You have to know that it does that. So if I don't know if it's in the manual, because we did not have the manual. I'm not even sure how he figured it out. Maybe he looked it up online back in the day, because my cousin had it, and we played that one co-op, and it's so much fun because the battles in Tales of Destiny play out on a horizontal plane in a 2D visual, and you attack in a kind of like, ironically, kind of like in Secret of Mana, where you have like basically cooldown periods for your attacks, but the cooldown periods are your character basically running back to their initial starting position, and then you can throw out another attack unless you move your character a bit more forward or backwards or whatever to shorten that distance in being able to attack more. So the problem with the channeling ring is that because the description doesn't tell you it's for co-op, it has a decently high price, and it's given to you early in the game. So early in the game, you want stuff. So you would, if you didn't know, you sell it, and that's it. If you sell it, it's gone. It's gone. Later in the game, you can actually get a second channeling ring. But if you do the same thing there, well, that's it.
That's hilarious. So, it's over.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can technically play 3-player, if you can add it to another thing and then use it multi-tap, because the PlayStation did have multi-tap capabilities. I don't know that. I haven't done the research on that one. I do know that there are 2 channeling rings that you can get in the game, one early in the game, one later in the game. Boy, wow. If you screw up once, you're screwed.
It's over.
Yeah. So if you're like, hey, we can play this together, and like, oh no, I sold it.
So Max, you actually reminded me of another game that's co-op.
Ooh.
But also insanely difficult to set up. Because I was thinking about how you said you needed that 3-player multi-tap.
Yeah.
Do you remember the original version of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube?
Oh no, yeah.
Crystal Chronicles.
Have you played that series?
No, I have.
So they just did a remake of it a year or two ago.
Yeah,
and
it's
made it
bad.
really
Don't get that.
easier.
Yeah,
It's bad.
Don't get that. It's bad.
But
don't get that. It's
the
bad.
original version for the
Noted.
GameCube was you could play it on your own, or you
Okay.
could play it with 4 players. But
Right.
the only way you could play it with 4 players is if everybody had a Game Boy Advance.
And again,
And a
like
link cable.
link cable. And here's the thing: if you
That's
play
annoying.
2 players, you have to do it that setup.
Even though the GameCube had 4 controller ports, everybody
Yes.
needed a Game Boy to play.
That's wild.
Yeah. Because
So it was a
everybody
very
had their
hard
own. Everybody had their own inventory screen.
Yeah,
Sure.
And
Sure.
they used the Game Boy as an inventory screen.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because it's technically a rogue. Like thinking back to it, it's technically a roguelite. Because
Right.
you have stats; those are
I
permanent.
just want to play it.
But you have abilities that always reset when you enter a new dungeon.
Got it.
And
Specifically,
remember,
the
you
spells.
had that. You had that. So there was something as well, which is almost like before all of these like Fortnite and Warzone style shooters came, where like you know how they have like a gas or like a storm that
Yeah.
shrinks.
Yeah, the
So
miasmas.
in this game, you had the miasma, which was everywhere. You had this little Koopa or this little lantern, which
Yeah.
kind of cleared an area. So you'd have to walk a few feet, drop the lantern, fight the enemies, pick it back up, walk around, drop it. So like when you had multiplayer, one person was always in charge of that, and they literally
Yeah.
did nothing. They just held the lantern while the other 3 fought.
Right.
Oh. But yeah,
Yeah.
that when you talked about how hard it was to find how hard it was to find the multi-tap, I
Yeah.
thought I'm like, this makes me think of
That's
a
so much worse. That's so much.
That is
you
so
know-
worse.
You know what the thing is? It's such a fun concept because there were 2 other games that did this on the GameCube.
Mhm.
One
Right.
was Zelda 4 Swords Adventure,
Yes.
which did the same thing, which added a little extra thing that everybody had a different screen. So one had the map. If you did 4 players, one had the map. One kept track of like items and stuff. The other one kept track of other stuff in the game. So everybody had like a piece of the puzzle. Basically, you had to cooperate together. And when you went inside, like a house or whatever, and everybody else was still in the overworld, your screen turned into the inside of that house or the cabin or whatever. And until everybody went into the same house, you still had that on your screen. And when everybody went in, it switched back to the main screen, which is so cool. No, sorry, it didn't. Everybody got a view of the inside. The main screen still showed the overworld. And then when everybody came out, unless it was a dungeon, like
Right.
everybody is like doing their own thing, kind of, sort of. Which is really cool because when you played that one single player, you basically play in like a fixed formation, but when everybody's individual, you can just run around and cause mayhem, basically.
Oh.
And the other
That
game
sounds super
was
fun.
Pac-Man Versus,
Oh,
which
right.
I think that one only did require 3 GameCube. It required 3 Game Boys and link cables instead of 4 because there are 3 Ghosts and 1 Pac-Man. So the Pac-Man played on the main. Am I saying that correctly? On the main screen, and the Ghosts were on the Game Boy. So you weren't allowed to look up because then you can see where Pac-Man is. And basically you're supposed to navigate on a zoomed in image on your Game Boy to avoid Pac-Man. Hence the title.
Got it.
I've played it once because a friend of mine had it. And it was alright. Playing a 2-player is not that exciting. I think it's way more exciting when you have the full complement of 4 players playing. But
Also,
no cheating.
No screen looking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a.
But way too high of an investment. To do
Yes,
so.
clearly.
Yeah. And I think because Nintendo worked with Namco at the time, because I don't think they merged back then. It was a Nintendo exclusive thing, so I don't think they've ported it since, and they haven't remade it since, and I don't think they ever will, which is kind of sad. But yeah, it's a really cool concept.
Wait, you said Pac-Man World, right?
No, I said Pac-Man Versus.
Versus. Oh, sorry.
Versus. But does Pac-Man World have co-op?
I don't know.
Yeah, now I'm actually doubting if I described it correctly. Actually,
My bad.
Yeah.
No. I think you did.
yeah. So I am right. Um,
Yep.
I was wrong. You do have to have all four players have the Game Boy Advance because Pac-Man
Wow.
also looks on the screen. The main screen shows the four ghosts in their positions, but it doesn't show Pac-Man. I just saw a screenshot. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it was. So they don't know where
so
Pac-Man
interesting.
is, but Pac-Man also doesn't know where. I think Pac-Man sees the full. I think Pac-Man does see the full map. So it's kind of crazy. It's a really
hilarious.
it's a really fun concept. They actually demoed this at E3 on stage
Okay.
back when they used to do like stage shows.
Yes. Reveals.
Yeah, damn, I miss those days. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that is when you brought that up. I was like, oh damn, there are actually more co-op games that you can play in that way. That's really cool. So yeah, that was a really cool concept that just was way too high cost of investment.
Yeah, like you had to be rich. Like you were at your rich.
Or you'd have to know friends that have Game Boy Advances and just buy the link cables.
Yeah. Talk about like trying to get people in the ecosystem back then. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the conversation of an ecosystem back then was not even a thing. So
No, exactly. The Nintendo really, really went for it. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out because there were not a lot of games that supported that. And thank goodness, because if it did, I think the GameCube would have flopped even harder.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was a go-to generation stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody's brought up
Oh my gosh. That's one of those things, like the difficulty is so high and that it does become a little bit unattractive to me. But if I am playing with someone who is like on an equal level of like, let's beat the shit out of this game right now,
Yeah.
then that's something that like you kind of intentionally have to go into it that way. But as a casual, I definitely wouldn't be going for that first. But that's a great suggestion for those duos out there who are trying to just like have a challenge.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd have to have a partner that is like absolutely into that.
Yeah.
Because
this goes back to that conversation we were having earlier, like, couples who like to be challenged and whether or not that's a healthy thing or not. This kind of a challenge is healthy.
I'm sure it's healthy for some couples.
No, I'm saying, okay, but when they say like couples who go through challenges, like the challenges.
Oh, yeah.
That's not healthy. You're
Yeah.
working together to tackle a challenge. That's healthy.
I would say for me and Becca, like playing one level successfly is like good. Anything more than that is too straining. Yeah, it's difficult, man.
Yeah,
but I've seen people play that game and it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, right? It's I mean it does have the ability to like make you closer to the other person, and at the very least you will learn a lot about your partner.
Yeah,
you will learn
whether you want to or not.
Right. Like if you can be on a team or problem solve and and really know your role.
Yes. And I mean, yeah, so in that regard, you also have so we talked about competitive and we also talked like purely cooperative. And then you have the kind of cooperative games that you play that will really like even more than like stuff like Overcooked will challenge your patience with the other person. And that is keep talking and nobody explodes.
Oh, I don't know that I've played that.
Oh my god, you too?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, Okay.
All right.
This is something that we'll talk about after the podcast because we definitely need to do that for we definitely need to do that for a stream.
Okay. Will it test our friendship?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this is coming from personal experience. Because the way it works is that there is a bomb.
Okay.
You are on the bomb squad, and you have to defuse the bomb. Here's the problem: you don't have a manual. Your partner has the manual, and they're not allowed to show it to you. So you can play this co-op in person, but you'd have to sort of seclude yourself from the other person so they don't see the manual, and you have to explain stuff to them. But the person on the other side can't see the bomb. You have to explain to them what is on the bomb, and they're the ones responsible for telling you how to defuse the bomb. And the bomb is made up, it's basically like this rectangular briefcase that has multiple puzzles on it. And basically you're solving the puzzles through voice chat.
So I've played something like this. And it's the simplified version of it because people do have access to the same screen, and that was through Jackbox Games. And so there is a Bomb Squad game for that. But this game that you're talking about takes it a step even further.
Yes, because there are different missions. They're with different difficulty levels, and even the easiest can trip you up.
So it's not only going to test friendships, it tests really your communication skills.
Yes.
And your listening skills, because like there's a certain approach to language that you both have to understand, and kind of syntax that you both have to understand in order for you guys to succeed. Yeah. I am very intrigued, and I would love to experience this.
Yeah.
But we should sign waivers or something like that. Our friendship will still remain intact if we engage. Because
what happens in the game stays in the game.
Yeah.
Let me just put it this way. If you're going to be playing this, and I'm looking at the audience, if you're going to be playing this with a significant other, and that significant other is always the one that says you don't listen to me, and they're the ones that have to disable the bomb, and you keep telling them what to do, and they don't listen to you, this is the one time that you can lot it over them. The one
This is the I told you so game.
This is the I told you so game.
Oh, God.
This is your therapeutic activity, okay? That's hilarious. All right, just one more time. What's the game called for those who don't know?
Keep talking and nobody explodes. It's like you can get it on everything. So it's not that hard. It's not that hard. It doesn't even run. It doesn't even run on like it runs on a potato. You can play it that easily.
Right.
Basically, not literally, but basically.
So the devs really wanted people to play this game.
Yeah, I mean, you play it on Steam; it's easy, so it's not that hard. I have it on Switch, and I played it with my friend. Like he had the manual open, like the PDF, and we took turns disabling bombs. So then I would switch, and then like he would be disabling the bomb, and I had the manual in front of me, and it's like, yeah, that really tests your communication skills for sure.
Jeez, yeah. Dangerous, but very intriguing.
Yeah, so. There is one more game that I wanted to talk about. Let's take it away from all the stressful games. Sure. Let's also have something that's also a little bit more relaxing. And the one that I wanted to bring up is Stardew Valley.
Oh,
a very big game. Oh my God, are you okay, Denny?
I'm okay.
Here's the thing. Yeah, like I feel like Denny always goes on like a flashback anytime you mention something. Like whether it's a good or a bad suggestion for him, we don't know.
A lot of PTSD up in here. No, go on.
Yeah, so with Stardew Valley, you can play co-op up to 4 players, and the fun thing is that you make a farm specifically for co-op playthroughs, so that other people can come into your farm and like you can either play with each other or you can just go off and do your own thing. And you can basically coordinate like, okay, we need to like level up the farm. We need to like like, you know, like harvest this crop or like plant these crops, and it's spring and this is what we want to do. And like, you can be like, okay, so you go to the mines and like go farm for stuff in the mines, or you go into the forest and like get some firewood so that we have, you know, like wood so that we can build stuff, and like we can prep to upgrade like the homestead. And maybe you like clear some space on the farm because the farm is a mess when you get it the first time around. Maybe you want to go and like do some missions, stuff like that. You can coordinate that. But the nice and calming, for the most part, aesthetics of Stardew Valley, you know, makes it so that it's not as much competitive as it is a true cooperative experience.
Right.
And I say mostly because when you go into the dungeon, I feel like that's the most stressful part, in my opinion.
Sure.
The dungeon is very stressful. And some of the townspeople are very stressful, just because they're some of them are just weird. I mean, I mean, there's this one girl called Angela. She has purple hair. For some reason, whenever you give her a gemstone, she loves gemstones. She loves them so much that she allegedly eats them. Because here's the thing: I'm not hating on Angela. I married her. I don't know. I don't know what that says about me. And if you have your opinions on Angela and the fact that I married her, keep them to yourself.
I have to say, he's quiet the rest of this podcast.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the fun part of Stardew Valley. There's always these characters that are weird. Some of them are really sweet, like Robin. It's a shame that she's married, though. But I mean, that's the fun part about Stardew Valley, is that you can just take it easy, and you can coordinate with one another and just build the best farm that you can.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in record time if you're doing it co-op, because I feel like it takes forever when you're doing it solo, honestly.
It is a grind.
And I have played it co-op with another friend. The only reason I haven't played more of it co-op is because the friend is literally on the other side of the world, so there's like a 9-hour difference. So we have to, like, once in a while we'll coordinate and play together.
Yes.
And it's a very nice bonding moment for that. So it's really nice. But
not to mention the very, very pretty music.
The music is so nice, except for when you go into the dungeon where it's
exactly.
Yeah. The dungeons are no. Everything else is fine, but no on the dungeon. Yeah. I mean, for me that is probably I think probably the most chill experience that you can have playing co-op, because everything else that I can think of is actually kind of stressful. And like, it's not co-op, but like multiplayer games like, you know, like Mario Kart and stuff like that is way more stressful.
Sure.
We mentioned Mario Party.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But that's more of the competitive side. I think that's where we haven't brought it up. But yeah, you can play that with a significant other and have a very good time.
There are some co-op like mini games in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. There are co-op mini games. If the chips fall in that order.
Sure.
Usually, I mean, I've played Jamboree, and that had that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was playing a lot of single player. But even when I went online and played multiplayer, like most of the time, the mini games that came up were versus each other or 1v3. There's very rarely that it gave me the 2v2 options. And some of the 2v2 games are actually really good. There's this one where you're both, like, you have two teams of two. You're in, like, a tank. One controls the vertical
yes.
The other one
axis
controls the horizontal axis. And you have to coordinate through, like, a maze. It's basically like a race, and whichever team does one lap wins, basically. But yeah, you still have to coordinate that one. That one was really fun.
Yeah, I suppose if you kind of just like focus in on like the mini games themselves, well, there is a mini game mode. So
exactly.
Yeah,
if you just want to do mini games, you can do that. Yeah.
I mean, this not quite Stardew Valley. I think that this is more sandbox, but Minecraft is something that you could do as well, because you're doing really anything that you want to do. and creating. So that one's a fun one. I've spent literal years on Minecraft. So
Nice.
yeah, that one's a good one. I don't know that my Becca would play that game. But
Sorry, no, go ahead.
oh, there was nothing else. That was the fun.
Have you guys ever played Raft?
I
Yeah.
have not.
No,
I've watched a lot of people play.
No, sorry. I've played Rust. Sorry.
Yeah, there's Rust. I thought I was gonna mention Rust too. I'm like, wait, Rust doesn't sound right. Raft is the one where you're like
Yeah.
on the boat, and then you have to build up your boat when you go to like islands and get materials and stuff. So
Right.
Yeah.
that's been pretty fun too.
Yeah. Or Ark.
Or Ark, yeah.
I mean, they
survival.
all, yeah, any survival, they kind of fall into that same thing. I hate it all. I still play them.
I do.
Like, here's the thing. I don't hate them. I hate them because whenever I die and drop my stuff, it pisses me off.
Right, because you can't get it back.
No, you have one chance to get it back. And if
Right,
you die,
you do.
it's basically what's that game again? It's basically Dark Souls rules. You drop it once,
Right.
you have one chance to get it back. You die again, bye bye.
Yeah.
Right. And is there a time limit too?
To Ark.
Because like I know your Minecraft supplies do eventually disappear.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think with those games, as long as you don't die, you can retrieve them. But once you die, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
In that regard, there is another one in that kind of vein, and the title, damn, it's escaped me. Damn, it was on the top of my head. I was like, oh yeah, that one is also... Right, sorry, another one. Astroneer. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Oh, I've watched you play it.
Yeah, Astroneer, you can also play co-op. And that has the same thing of when you die, you leave your backpack, and if you die again, that backpack is gone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. And
That's actually, I've watched you lose your stuff, actually. I've watched
yeah.
you rage at that game.
I have raged at that game many times.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever played Content Warning?
No. That sounds like a trigger already.
It's a small indie game.
Yeah, I've seen
That
people
came
play
out
it on
in
streams, yeah.
I've played it. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
But basically what you do is you are trying to film your encounters with monsters for like what's called SpookTube. And the way you progress through the game is every video you upload to this YouTube channel, you have to target a certain number of likes and comments or whatever. But you go down, you know, it's like any other kind of survivalist game where you, or like kind of like Phasmophobia. That's also a good co-op game, especially if you want to be scared.
Sure.
Where, you know, as you level up, you get better like items and stuff to kind of help you record your videos.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is the game actually lets you save the videos you've uploaded to like SpookTube so you can watch them over. With the right group of people, it is such a fun game, especially if you learn how to break the game.
Oh,
Because like you don't have weapons to fight the monsters, so you can't like shoot them or anything. You have to actually avoid them, but you're trying to get them on camera. But we learned that you can actually just jump on them, a la Super Mario Brothers, and it messes up like the programming for the monsters, and they just turn around and run away. So like there's videos of people like bullying these monsters instead of like trying to capture them. Be like, oh my god, there's a weird scorpion thing. No, it's really fun. Like there's a lot of indie games like that, like this, and then there's oh my god, I lost my train of thought. What is it called?
Lethal Company?
Thank you, Lethal Company.
Oh my goodness, he knew.
Yeah.
I knew because
Very similar.
Because Lethal Company is basically why Content Warning exists.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
probably.
Got it.
Because Lethal Company came out before and it blew up like crazy. And yeah, then Content Warning came out and it's like, oh my god, that's actually kind of sick. That's it's a really cool concept. And I had to look it up, and thank goodness it's on GeForce Now. So
Nice.
that is also a cool one that I can add to the list. Because stuff like that. It's usually just like PC games, and little on me on my Mac usually can't play them. But like GeForce Now, # not sponsored. Nvidia, please sponsor.
Sponsor now.
Yeah, get on that.
Yeah, like
Max is a passionate creator.
But that's the way that I've been playing Phasmo on stream because
Yes, through NVIDIA. Yeah,
yeah, through GeForce Now, and it works like seamlessly.
that's awesome.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Also, don't play Phasmophobia alone if you're a scaredy cat.
I'm always the guy in the chair. I never leave the van.
You told me that. I was like,
I do. Like, actually, I played Phasmo on stream 2 weekends ago.
Right.
Oh, not good. But those are good, like, spooky games, especially for, like, October and stuff like that. And Devour. Have you guys played Devour?
I have.
I've gotten spooked just watching people play.
That's the only game that's ever made me pull a rice.
Full of rice, like jump.
Like, jump and actually, like, jump so hard and scream that, like, everything shakes. But yeah, no, Devour is a fun game, like Phasmophobia, but like you pick a certain level and then there is a specific demon or monster or whatever. But then you have to go through the ritual of making it weaker. So you have to like, I think you have to like find goats and sacrifice them. So you find the goat, you go get some like gasoline and a match and then like what happens is as you get closer and closer to defeating it, because you have to do it like 10 times.
Right.
The monster gets angrier and angrier and starts to come after you more and more. So it becomes like you have to be faster as you look for items. It's not a goat. Don't worry. I just made that up. But like it's something. Maybe a chicken. I don't know.
I feel like it's kind of weird that we just accepted the fact that you said.
I know.
I think it's common to sacrifice a goat in the order to stop ghosts and demons. I don't know.
It's just funny how anything really, like anything could be the theme, but if it's meant to be scary, it will scare you.
Yeah.
All right, so one more that I actually wanted to bring up since we're talking about spooky games. The last game that I want to bring up is Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight.
And every version of Dead by Daylight, which is kind of funny because Dead by Daylight, I think the only reason Dead by Daylight exists is because the Friday the 13th, the video game existed, which basically kicked it off. And then apparently they didn't do really good rights management when it came to that game. So that game got shut down, which is really sad. I really love that game. And then Dead by Daylight basically came out and just took it and it went off. Yep. And now they have all these crazy collabs. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, or the year before that, but one of the years at the Game Awards, Nick Cage came on stage and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in like Dead by Daylight." And I was like, somehow this makes all the sense of the
right. That's not even a character; it's just Nicolas Cage.
It's just Nicolas Cage. It's not like he's not playing character; he's playing himself.
He's playing himself, but that makes sense. It's Nicolas Cage.
Yes, the same person from Vampire's Kiss.
The Nicolas Cage.
Wait, was it Vampire's Kiss or Diary of a Vampire? I forget. You know, the one scene where he runs around, like, I think New York or something, screaming, "I'm a vampire." So good.
You just accept it because it's Nicolas Cage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. The guy.
That's his prestige.
Exactly. That guy will mug for the screen for the heck of it. So yeah, like Dead by Daylight, it's still live and kicking. A lot of people playing it. I can't see that being played by like, you know, like close friends or even like as a couple, and then you're like jumping with two other people, trying to, you know, do the missions and stuff like that. And it's kind of funny because there have been games that have tried that formula, like that asymmetrical gameplay, and I don't think they've ever really captured the imagination like Dead by Daylight has.
Yeah. I mean, Ghostbusters tried to do that. And any asymmetrical experience, I guess. But Dead by Daylight really took off. I don't know what it is about it. Is it the horror genre? Who knows?
I think it's just a solid game.
Yeah, the game. Yeah, you're right. The gameplay was just so good.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, with that, I think we've come to the end of the episode. Denirukun, Riceboy, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys coming together in this week of love.
Love.
And sharing your favorite co-op games and like exploring other ones that even none of us has played. So it's great to have on your list. So if there were any games that you heard us talk about that you thought was, hey, that's pretty cool, or you have any other suggestions, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to leave it in the comments. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcasting, please feel free to ignore that and then just post it somewhere on the internet where we can see it. So yeah, thank you so much, you guys, once again. Could you please tell the audience where they can find you? Let's start with RiceBoy.
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me on my Linktree. I have all of my socials there. I stream on Twitch, and that will be at Rice Boyyy TV. Linktree/Rice Boyyy TV.
All right, thank you. And Denirukun?
Yeah, same. My Linktree as well. You can find me there. Usually I'm on Twitch. Most of the times I'm on Instagram. So come along and yell at me at how much I suck at playing video games. Fine. Yeah, Linktree/denirukungaming.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. And yeah,
Thanks,
that was
Max.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Of course, you can find Game Rivals on your favorite podcasting service. Our home is on Spotify, so please don't forget to subscribe. And if your podcasting service has the ability to give ratings, please do so. It helps with discoverability. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell button to get notified when the latest episode of Game Rivals goes up. Don't forget to leave a like on this video. If you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments. I appreciate that. You can find me also through Linktree, which is Linktree. So the links are so annoying. Linktr.ee/Maximilian_X, where you can find my Twitch channel, of course, my own personal YouTube channel as well. You can also find me on Instagram. And yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I have been and always will be Maximilian X, and I'm here, of course, with my special guests, Denirukun and RiceBoyyyTV, and we'll see all of you beautiful rivals next time. Later.
See ya.
Thank you.